What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the PokerNews podcast. I am Sarah Herring, alive with my homies Jeff Platt and Chad Holloway, both in the city of sin, both all up in this WSOP grind. First of all, Chad, you look like shit. What's going on?
That's nice.
Yeah, thanks. You know, it's been some long hours out here in Las Vegas covering the WSOP.com portion of the 2020 World Series of Poker. We're averaging about 12 hours a day, starting at 3 p.m., going to about 3 a.m., and yesterday was particularly long. It was the longest one yet because of the deep stacks and longer structure of the high roller event that took place, the 3,200 high roller. That was the largest buy-in on the WSOP.com schedule. The GG portion will have some bigger buy-ins, of course, but for my sake, where I'm focused, it was the biggest one. And it was an exciting one because Joe McKeehen, who had won the 2015 World Series of Poker main event, a former main event champ, took it down. It was his third bracelet. And so for me, it's always exciting when a former main event champ does well in poker. I was excited to be there to cover that. And I know later in the show, we're going to really dive into all the bracelet winners, and there have been some great stories. So that's one of the good things. It's been long hours. It's been a lot of work, but as Jeff can attest, playing and streaming, there's been some great stories. So far, the 2020 WSOP, in my opinion, through the first 2 weeks, has been very interesting and a big success.
Jeff, we talked last week. You've been streaming and watching a lot of the events as well. Has this been continuing the last week? Catch us up on what's going on in your world.
So, Sarah, you've just been watching the replays. You haven't been tuning in live, just kind of catching up next couple days.
Jeff, I've been dying, okay? Dying.
Our girl, by the way, anti-Chardonnay, Sarah Herring, may or may not have had coronavirus like 3 times in the last, 3 months? Is that safe to say?
Dude, I'm telling you guys, it's like every week I start the week like, we're good, I'm over this thing. And then
finally.
Yeah, and then it's like, nope, half the week I die, and then the other half of the week I just try to catch
up. As I bring Buddy up here, so Buddy's been a big part of these streams. Twitch.tv/Jeff Platt. Yeah, we've been doing it every night, 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific time. And I'm with Chad. I mean, I guess I didn't really know what to expect coming into the World Series of Poker, considering it would all be online in the month of July in the U.S. But I've been pleasantly surprised by the storylines that have been built, that the players who are attacking these events. I mean, Daniel Negreanu is always in the mix from hand number 1. Phil Hellmuth is playing every day. Maria Ho is playing every day. And then you have these storylines kind of pop up almost out of nowhere. You see Joe McKeehen win a bracelet. You see Phil Galfond play a no-limit Texas Hold'em tournament last night and finish in the money. I didn't expect that. Maria Konnikova, a New York Times best-selling author, jumped in the mix and cashed in the high roller last night. There are some intriguing storylines that have come out of the online series, and I just think it's just been really entertaining overall, to my pleasant surprise.
So 2020 isn't just a turd sandwich. There's also,
right. I mean, mostly, like 99%. Yeah.
Like, they give you a little something extra on the side. Well, while we're speaking of Phil Galfond, we might as well just give a shout out to our homies, Run It Once. They've been friends and sponsors of the podcast for a long time, and you guys can get a special sign-up bonus if you go and use our code once.run/PNPod. That's once.run/PNPod. Now, clearly, it might make sense to go in, timeline order. That may be the way some people want to do things. But I want to do things in the order of things that I think are interesting. So let's just start with that. So first of all, Chad and Jeff, who were both working into the wee hours of the night last night. Chad, let's talk a little bit about this Joe McKeehen event. And I'm sorry that also on the day that was the longest day, it's also the day you have to get up and do the podcast.
That's all right. I love getting up. If I gotta get up for a reason early to join you guys, I mean, this is the highlight of my week, right? So this event was the $3,200 No Limit Hold'em High Roller. It was number 14 on the schedule. Give you a couple numbers through the series. Through 14 events, the 2020 WSOP online has catered to 18,422 combined entries.
Woo.
And awarded just shy of $12 million in prize money, which are pretty impressive numbers in my opinion. The high roller freeze out, the high roller, it wasn't a freeze out yesterday, the high roller $3,200 event attracted 496 entries. Of that, 368 uniques, 128 re-entries. And what was pretty exciting about this to me, having covered it, was how McKeehen ended up winning it. And it was by playing a very patient game. They made the final table of 8 players, and he didn't score a single elimination until the one that mattered. And that was the final one, when he was heads up against New Jersey pro Frank Funaro, who goes by the Whole Funk online. And so, just watching him bide his time, pick his spots very carefully, not really gamble it up at all, and then right at the end make his rush and then use those chips to seal victory. It was pretty impressive and shows just why he is not only a World Series of Poker main event champion, but has also won a different bracelet in between now and then. He won the 10K Limit Hold'em Championship in 2017. So he's won bracelet number 3 last night, and that puts him in some pretty rarefied company. There's a lot of players who have won 3 bracelets, but some that stick out to me are like, some Poker Hall of Famers most people might remember, like the late David Chip Reese, Dewey Tomko, and Lyle Berman are just, a few guys who are Poker Hall of Famers who also happen to have 3 bracelets.
And also Dominic Nietzsche.
He has 4.
Yeah, he has 3 though, too.
Well,
sure.
So you were also watching the final table. Did you kind of come out of it with the same vibe, Jeff?
Yeah, listen, McKeehen is one of the best players around, and when you enter a $3,200 high roller, the competition is going to be pretty stiff. Chad mentioned Frank Funaro, East Coast grinder. Clayton McGuire was there. He was in the mix. Roland Israelishvili finished in 3rd. He's Pringles 12 online. He has the most cashes in WSOP history without a World Series of Poker bracelet. Oh, so close, but finished in 3rd place. The guy is a maniac. He's a wild player. And I'm kind of wondering if McKeehen had picked up on that, or maybe even knew who Roland was. And he's like, you know what? It's going to benefit me to just kind of sit back and relax a little bit, kind of get a feel for what Roland is doing at this table. But again, I go back to what I said earlier, just an absolutely stacked field, just a massive turnout. Ali Amshurovich was in the mix. Chris Ferguson eliminated on the Stone Cold Bubble. Oh man, very sad, very unfortunate. Everybody is really, really sad.
I like so many, I was shaken up by that too, Jeff. But,
yeah.
What was interesting about that bubble was who burst the bubble was one Mr. Ryan DePaulo, who goes online by Joey as a Mush, who really is the talk of the poker world this week, because 2 days prior, he won a World Series of Poker bracelet. He won the Big 500, as it was called, 2,427 entries, the largest turnout to date in the WSOP.com portion of the schedule. Almost a $1.1 million prize pool. But what really was exciting about that was he won this bracelet in a Whole Foods parking lot. I mean, incredible. You can't write that. You can't make that stuff up. And he was, he put it on Twitter. There was evidence. He was grinding this in a New Jersey Whole Foods parking lot. He crossed the border from New York. And over there, when this tournament ended, it was 6 a.m. So here he is shipping a bracelet by himself in his car in a Whole Foods parking lot in the early morning hours. Obviously unprecedented in WSOP history.
Yeah, he put on his Instagram and probably his Twitter also, like jumping out of the car and screaming, "I'm a fucking god!" And then there are a couple of people like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, sorry." It's just an amazing winner's moment for Ryan DePaulo, and he's made deep runs in event number 13 and event number 14 also. So he has gone back to back to back cash as a first place finish, a 23rd place finish, and then a 16th place finish. And he's also upgraded his lodging, I guess. So he was in the car for event number 12. He was at a friend's house for event number 13. And for event number 14, he was in a hotel room. So he's moving on up in this world.
And then he knocks out Chris Ferguson
on
the
bubble.
bubble. So you could argue you have DePaulo, poker's hero of the moment, if you will, eliminating Chris Ferguson, who certainly is a villain to many people in the poker world. So I think it's just a fitting story so far in this 3-day stretch for the popular vlogger.
I had mentioned on the stream when we had DePaulo and Ferguson at the same table, I said something like, well, wouldn't this be something if, DePaulo eliminated Chris Ferguson on the Stone Cold Double, you guys would go ballistic, because as we've all discussed, DePaulo's fan base is very passionate. And the anti-Chris Ferguson fan base is also very passionate. So when DePaulo did bust Chris Ferguson, the Twitch chat just went ham. Everybody just went absolutely insane. It was kind of, in a weird way, one of the most entertaining moments of the 2020 World Series of Poker, I would say.
Well, we are in fact going to talk to Ryan. We are shooting this before we talk to him, but I'm very much looking forward to it. It was interesting because Sasha did an interview with him. He placed third in a WSOP event. I want to say last year, maybe the year before. I think it was last year. Gosh, life is all running together at this point. But he took third, which was kind of disappointing, but he was definitely the star of that final table, I think, either way. And that video just crushed. Like, looking at the numbers from that summer, her interview with Ryan DePaulo was one of the best hitting videos all summer. So I realized, all right, this guy... this guy's something big, and I was super excited to reach out to him and to try to get him for the show, but I wasn't sure. Obviously I'm sure a ton of people there. He actually was getting the Whole Foods parking lot story has been getting a lot of mainstream press. I've seen a lot of people covering this, so I thought, oh, what are the chances that tomorrow he'll really be available to talk to us? And he did, and he was, and I'm very excited. But before we go to Ryan, I do just want to mention this tweet, as we know that's where the important news comes from, that I saw from Joey Ingram, speaking about Ryan's big win in the Whole Foods parking lot, which we'll of course talk to him about. But Joey said, you do all the right things. You wake up, take your cold shower, meditate, drink your green smoothies, study hard, play focused, and in the end, you lose to a guy playing on his laptop in a Whole Foods parking lot at 5 a.m., pissing in drink cups. Maybe you've been doing it wrong. Just saying, folks. And on that note, let's get Ryan on the show. I'm actually really excited. What is up, everybody? I am joined by Ryan DePaulo. Now, we have, and I throw it in there like that, just so you know, this is how people are going to start saying your name. Ryan, I already gave an introduction to you, basically, before you even joined the show, but for those who don't know a little bit about you, I wanted to let you know that you did an interview with Sasha. I think, was it last summer?
Yeah, last summer.
When you took third in a WSOP event. And, it's my job. I don't know if you know this, but I am the head of video, in fact, for PokerNews. And so I do review the analytics relatively frequently. I check out what's going on. And as the summer was going on and on, I was just like, this video is popping off like crazy. This parkour kid is like, got fans like it's nobody's business. I don't know what's going on, but you had my attention immediately. And it turns out that you may or may not have like the absolute best, most diehard fam, the Degens in the world.
Yeah, it's great. It's super cool. I think because I just verbal diarrhea myself out there, and then people, I believe, get to know me enough that I know that, like, I know people when they come up to me and they're like, oh, I watch your channel, I love it, that like there's a base level that we're friends. So it's like a, even though it's sort of one way, it's like a real connection. And also credits to you on that video as well, because you rank higher than me in some places when searching my own name. So that just speaks to your SEO skills and your gangsterness. You know what I mean? We both help each other here.
So sick. Well, I guess I first want to just, for the few people in the PokerNews audience who do not know you yet, they're about to. So talk to me a little bit. You stream, you're a poker player, but let's deep dive into young Ryan, childhood life. Like, give me a little background, a little history before you become, the man that is the Degen we see today.
I don't know. I mean, like I grew up in New York City. Went to performing. The movie Fame is about my high school, and you have to audition to get in. It's a public school, but I got in for acting. Like I've always been sort of creative, and then like that, and sort of degenerate, and went to college, got kicked out sort of from University of Colorado. By sort of I did, came home, played micro stakes like for fun as a hobby, living in a 10-bedroom illegal share in Chinatown for real. Then like Black Friday, got back into it, and then like through videos and having more money because of like actually having a job, like started playing poker again, but also making videos, and then they like led to each other more and more. And then now like I almost don't suck, and my videos have grown popular or whatever.
I almost don't suck might be the title of this video when I put it on. You're a quotable guy. And this is random but kind of funny because I feel like so I grew up in Colorado and then I went to film school in New York. I probably would have liked to have gone to acting school, but mama was never going to be an actor. And also like had to leave college. What did you get kicked out of university for? It's a partying school. I feel like it's a hard school to get kicked out of.
You would think, but no. Well, the security. Maybe I ran a little bad. That the security hub for all the dorms, which are any buildings on the campus, was in my dorm on my floor, and I was the first door in the hallway there. And then like first week, so it's like 2 strikes for underage drinking, and then you get suspended, and third, and you're like expelled. So I left my door open with a bunch of beer cans for strike 1. Strike 2, I gave a fake name, got away with it. But the real strike 2 was something I was slapboxing in the hallway, drunk, and then like mouthed off to cops and got tackled. Whatever. It helped me actually because I was not really studying there. I was just wasting my dad's money. So I'm grateful in hindsight that I had to come back to New York and then finish in Brooklyn College for like 1/10 of the price.
Dude.
But it was really unfair. No, it was totally. And then the third arrest was just at a house party where the only charge was underage drinking.
I mean, like in high school, we used to go to the University of Colorado to go get drunk. Like everybody is underage drinking there. It's like the culture. It's the whole thing. They actually are trying to give tickets for underage drinking in Boulder.
Minor in possession, MIP, a minor in possession of alcohol. I happened to be the one at the house party who was going outside back to smoke a cigarette as cops were approaching the door. And they saw me shine the light, and then I like closed the door and didn't warn everyone, and then went to the front door. It was just bad luck, but it all happened for a reason because now I have a bracelet. No, I'm joking. It all happened for a reason because I wasn't studying. It really saved me.
Well,
in a way.
It all makes sense, and I a million zillion % believe that, you know, everything's happening for a reason, and your path is not the one that you anticipate for yourself almost ever. But let's talk a little bit. So you have your fans, your homies. Fans, I'm not sure. I feel like it's a community. I don't know if fans is the right words, but
yeah.
They're your degens, right? We call them degens. And
I like viewers better, or whatever you choose. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I like that. But I feel like there's
sickos.
Ooh, I like that too. There's a few. I do a video series every summer with Mark Chirp Herm, where I have him sort of go through the nomenclature that he and his buddies are using at the time. And I feel like your whole crew also has its own set of sort of vocabulary words that we might need to just talk a little bit about the etymology of for the PokerNews family. Yes. Of which I want to start with, where did this parkour thing emerge from?
It's really messed up that I am just, this speaks to what level. Okay. So one video, we just were in Atlantic City early in the vlogs, and then there's this weird statue. And then as like a troll, I'm always improvising when filming, but I was like, you know what? We're just here for parkour. We're not gambling this vlog. Parkour. And then I just jumped and did a jump. And it was a funny moment in the video. It was very silly. Like I did a couple and then edited it. Like they were intense jumps.
Yeah.
Not even knowing about the Office bit. It's an easy sport to make fun of, but I don't watch The Office. I would not steal a bit to this extent. And I wasn't even planning on it becoming a bit. But the next video, people were like, where's the parkour? And I was like, oh. And since I was so early in my channel and I'm like a clown trying to spin plates, I was like, I'll give them what they want. So then I just like started incorporating horrible parkour jumps. also a funny sport to make fun of, and so it just became that. And then whatever, I don't know how to respond when people are like, oh, parkour, or I'll be playing on ACR and they'll see me at a table and be like, yo, Ryan, parkour, and I'm like, hi. I wish there was I wish it was one where there was like a parkour question mark, and then I would say yes, or I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure there's others. Sorry, but that's the big one.
It's super. It's almost like how nicknames evolve or something, where it's like, I'm just like, and then all of a sudden you're stuck with it forever. But I love it, and I do love The Office, but also I'm a big fan of parkour in general. So I love this, and there's I want to say mush. Something.
Yeah, Joey, and that's my username on WSOP.com. So he's in some of my vlogs. He's like a actual friend, but in terms of the vlog, he's a character on my vlog. If you look at it like that, like some form of reality show, and he's like he's just a mush is the bit. That term is everybody I think gambling knows mush, but they're bad luck. I only became aware of it from Bronx Tale, but I like early in the vlogs I was winning without him, and then losing when he would join me. And also he's like a big victim. Like he sulks so bad when he thinks he'll send bad beats that are not bad beats. Like he'll send a photo of a PLO hand and we'll be like, dude, you got it. You weren't ahead. And he thinks I can't hit anything. He swears he's only one flip live ever. He's very funny. So Joey's a mush is become a bit, and then on my Twitter I'll be like, I hate to get political, but I just I think that with the NYPD, Joey's a mush. It just always go back to this fact. I don't know.
I love it. It's super. I love it. Okay, so we have the most important ones then covered, and so before we get too deep into anything too, I want to at least throw it out once or twice. I feel like now is a good time. When people want to find you, you have all these nicknames, you have all these funny things going around, you've got different names on different sites. If people want to find you and watch your content, what should they be looking up?
Ryan DePaulo, or I probably rank for Degenerate Gambler, but Ryan DePaulo Degenerate Gambler is the YouTube channel, and that's where I want. That's what I care most about probably is the YouTube channel. My Twitch name is horrible. It's Ryan DePaulo Degenerate. It's so hard to type in, but.
We weren't graced with the super easy last name, but is it at least different enough for you? Jeff Platt, my podcast co-host, he has @Jeff Platt everything. Who has that in 2020? Who's able to just use their name for anything? I don't even understand.
I know.
But we have
so hopefully I rank high enough for the hopefully I can make Degenerate Gambler enough that it just comes, even though I don't claim to be any super degenerate. I'm just a degenerate who's maybe
just a standard degenerate, just a normal standard degenerate. Well, speaking of
interrupt me if you need to.
Degenning, I would say, in fact, I even saw on a few mainstream little outlets that people were picking up and very excited about your recent bracelet win. Very excited that it had to happen in the Whole Foods parking lot. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Big deal, especially after coming in third last summer. It's dude, it's time to get a bracelet. Let's do it. And I think it would just make sense for us to talk a little bit about why one would be playing in a parking lot. Besides just that you're a degenerate, I'm not sure.
Well, I guess, I don't know how many people know, but or not the law, that you physically need to be in New Jersey or Nevada to play. Many people took trips there. I live in Manhattan, so I'm it's really silly because I could probably theoretically run a cable the 2 miles to Jersey to my home computer if it were my a cartoon. But so I was hodgepodging together different ways of being in New Jersey for different nights of it, all of which were horrible settings to play poker. I busted one event. Literally, I had the laptop on me, and then my girlfriend's niece, or who may or may not become my niece, reading her a bedtime story, I busted an event. I also played some on my phone, and then I'm figuring out ways to piece it together. So the car is more I was betting against myself. I was I'm not going to get a place to stay because I'll probably bust early, and then I could just sleep at home. So it's a reverse. I don't even know. It's so funny that that's a storyline because I was just doing it, and then it turns out that's the fun. I'm oh, that's on brand. That's pretty funny. I Google my name first after. It's DePaulo wins bracelet in parking lot. I was I guess this is pretty ridiculous.
So perfect. And your reaction, for those who missed it, was also, I would say, on brand and on point all the way around. It was beautiful. And I was just catching up with, I guess it comes kind of full circle to the beginning. You were talking about, sort of developing a relationship with your viewers, with your audience. And it turned out, someone did clip this 30 seconds where I feel like you got a big baseball game in your future. Why don't you tell the Poker News podcast fam what you went ahead and did?
Yeah, it's NFL actually, but either way, it's
NFL.
Very amazing that whatever. It's like, so I totally forgot about this, but after winning, somebody added me on Twitter or whatever it's called, mentioned me, and I saw this video, and it's me streaming months ago, and I'm like, if I win any bracelet this year, any bracelet at all, I will take you, Dougie. Like, I never seen him in my chat before too. He just got me to make this promise that I'm obviously keeping. But I was like, any bracelet at all, I swear on my mother's grave. It's very New York Italian.
Yes.
I swear on my mother's grave, which is the highest honor, like bigger than swear to God. I swear on my mother's grave that I will take you, fly you out, and we'll go to the Jets home opener together if I win any bracelet. And then immediately after, I'm like, oh God, I'm probably going to win one with a $3 prize pool, and then this will cost more than that or whatever. But I'm very happy to pay it. But when I first saw it, I was like, yo, that's hilarious. I totally forgot about this.
I was dying a little inside because, of course, when you say it, you're just like, yeah, that's a pipe dream. Like, yeah, that'll be great if that happens, but we'll see. And then someone actually really did save it and clip it, and like, believe this guy knew. Like, he was like, this is coming, dude. This is your year.
Yo, it's like my girlfriend was like, it's like Angels in the Outfield plot. It's like, I'll be your dad when the Angels win the pennant or something. It's like, yeah, whatever. I'll never have to actually be his dad.
So, okay, this is like a total side thing, but having lived in Manhattan before, it's like unbelievably expensive and just like ridiculous to live there in general. So this is quite impressive, and that you're a degenerate gambler. Anyways, talk to me a little bit about what, I guess your normal life is like. Are you just like grinding from New Jersey most of the time, or what does it look like?
Well, it's been weird. It's been like pretty fluid in the last like year and a half or whatever. So I was working in a box office on Broadway. It's like a union job. Union.
Dude, union jobs are the best. Get it.
And I know, for real. And Broadway's all unioned up, and my dad's like a Brooklyn union dude. And then and so I was working, but that's like sort of on and off when there's a show in your theater. And it like on the side, I was making these videos and then playing, and then my life now, though, living. First of all, I'm out of here as soon as this lease is up, because Manhattan I'm over it, even though I've grew up here. But it's like making videos and playing too much poker. I say too much poker because I'd rather the pie chart of my life be more creative than poker play. But it's been a little, well, whatever. It worked out now. Who cares? What am I talking about?
No, but I think it's so funny because it's a question that I've heard lots of people ask, a lot of the poker vloggers, what portion of your life do you feel like is, poker versus the sort of creative things? Do you do one to support the other or vice versa? And I do actually think it is something that you should think about, what you are more interested in or what you would like to see be more.
Right. Well, I just don't meet my aspirations are clear that I want to be a creator first and creative first, and then poker, originally just not bad at poker second, or maybe profitable second. I mean, but Corona just like made me like play online all day, every day, and then like hiring an editor. So it's like, I was just like, oh, I have all this free time to do more creative stuff. Let me just overfire all these tournaments. I don't know.
Which, it's so interesting too, though, right? Sometimes when you have a theoretical idea about what you want your life to look like or what it should look like, but then when given the opportunity, maybe you really deep in your heart are actually just a degen. Who knows?
Hopefully not too much, because it's like, it's almost like if I had a channel, like if you had a channel like Ryan DePaulo heroin addict, it wouldn't last if I was actually a full heroin addict. You know what I mean? Like maybe you could dabble in it and then document it. So I can only be sustainable at like a little bit percentage of degen.
That's true. The heroin dabbling is just not that common of a channel, but I would tune in. I might watch.
There was one video they posed like, hey, I'm going to start this channel, aspirational, and then it's like they're just never heard from again.
R.I.P. Ryan DePaulo heroin channel after his second video. And So I think it's obvious that your personality is what, you know, really attracts people to your channel. Just being kind of raw and real, I think that is what people are interested in seeing. And actually, they aren't that interested in just seeing people be successful. They really want to see people just be real. And that's pretty uncommon. But it's interesting because you come from a background of acting, right? Also, clearly you're involved in the theater. So there is some elements of your channel which are more theatrical and more fun. And I was dying watching the Mike Postle rap video. I don't know how I didn't see this video already, but it's amazing. And I'm actually going to insert it into this podcast and into this video. So can you kind of like tee up really quick the sort of process, like talk to us a little bit about this video before we put it in.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm glad. Thank you for asking about that, because this is like the video I'm probably the most proud of, I guess I'd say, because it was just pure like work. So I was in Greece during all this Postle stuff. I saw all these YouTubers raking in all these views. I was jealous. I was like, Jeff Boski, who's my friend and a vlogger, but he was just posting the 10 Postle hands and barely commenting on and getting all these views. And I was like, man, I'm missing out on this like sweepstakes, but I also wouldn't do it. That's not the type of channel I have. And then I got home and I was like, yo, I want to do something creative. And then I don't even know how it came to be, but I literally learned how to make beats from this like program, made a loop of like the World Series of Poker song, and then just like started writing a rap. And then I don't know, it was fun to make. But I felt a little YouTube view butthurt that it didn't get maybe 10,000 views more, but maybe this will help. I don't know.
I honestly was surprised when I saw it at like 50K views or something. I was like, how does this not have like at least 200K views? I mean, I'm just saying, like, everyone in poker at least should have seen it, which has got to be like 200K people. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. We've got to hype this video like way more. And I was also wondering, so you're not, you know, side hustle pursuing rap? Because I thought your rap game was pretty good.
Thanks. No, well, sometimes when I stream, as any people watch me, I stream like maybe 2 days a week, 1.5 days a week on average on Twitch. I will freestyle often. Yeah. So I guess I don't know. I want to make more, but they take so much time. There's so many things I want to do, but it was so much fun. Maybe next time somebody cheats, I'll rap about that again. Maybe that'll be my thing. Just every controversy I'll rap about. I don't know.
I feel like that should be your niche. I definitely feel like that should be your niche. And with the spoon in the hat, like, I was dying. Like, it was like it just kept evolving as the like video was going. I'm like, this is so good. This is so good.
Thank you.
Okay, I have to get to the chat, but before we do, I'm just gonna give myself a place to cut away to possibly the greatest video of all time.
Hey, yo, Joey, give me that WSOP beat. What? Son, not the fucking gay one? Get this shit off. Give me the real one, man. Yeah. Yo, it's Mike Postle. I'm about to clear some things the fuck up, bro. A lot of you guys been saying stuff. Tell him, Mike. Man, we'll listen, yo. Listen up, yo, I'm about to teach you all a lesson. Teach. Most of you guys got the damn wrong impression. I don't cheat, I don't know why y'all are stressing. Well, maximum maybe like 57 sessions. It wasn't like I could just see the damn cards. I had to look in my lap and squint really hard. It was a struggle, man, all this hate. I don't deserve this. 3 times I even almost fucking lost service. I'm the scale of all scales, y'all should give me some credit. Actually, I won't pay you back, so fuck it, forget it. Being greasy ain't easy. Y'all don't believe me? I even fucking cheat against my niece and Parcheesi. If anyone's played at LATV, can you tweet me the pin to their RFID? Ivy, Jungle, Boski, Fossil, I'll take them all cause I am Mike Postle. I play poker like Jesus. These dudes can't believe this. They say it's impossible. It's just crotch theory optimal. Got your hand near my penis. It's not gay how I mean this. Not gay. I play pot so unchoppable. Cause it's crotch theory optimal. If we were animals, you would be sheep. And I would be the shepherd who rapes them and cheats. How'd I even cheat a dying man? This is the answer. I say go gadget, fuck that guy with cancer. And that would be that. Then my dude in the back would transmit his hand to the spoon in my hat. Then I mark or put chips in. Y'all need to listen. Fuck Joe Ingram. Don't fall for his bitchin'. I'm better for poker than poke is, yo. Cause the lame doesn't play or watch video. But we both play poker like big phonies. Cause he is a fake. I got my phone on my knee. Ivy, Jungle, Boski, Fossil. I'll take them all cause I am Mike Postle. I play poker like Jesus. These dudes can't believe this. They say it's impossible. It's just crotch theory optimal. Got your hand near my penis. It's not gay how I mean this. Not gay. I play pot so unchoppable. Cause it's crotch theory optimal. Crotch theory optimal. Crotch theory optimal. Crotch theory optimal. At least I'm not New York Poker King. Yeah, so that's it. Mike Postle. That's all I had written, man, but I still feel like there's more I could get off my chest, yo. No way.
Say back in the field, how many more telling me?
They'll believe me.
Back up,
Alright, back up. It's crotch theory optimal.
Whose man is this? Whose man is this? Whose man is this? I didn't invite him. You was some bitch nigga shit. Like he really would thought. He got the camera in my face. Like he really a thought. I like, can you get the camera off my man?
Cheating. I got caught cheating. I came from my beating. You guys can see I'm bleeding.
He a bitch ass nigga.
On my ass, I fart.
Bro, this nigga try to act fly, kinda like LaGuardia. Stop shitting. He's a famous YouTuber. Just kidding.
I'm greasy. I'm cheesy. Y'all don't believe me. I cheat.
Get the scoop, get the news. Y'all now rocking with the best. I was in 5th grade. I was a wild child. Really couldn't do my P's and my Q's right now.
Yo, I cheat unstoppable. I am Mike Postle. It's crotch theory optimal.
You need to touch it.
Wow, that went really well. I think those guys were really responsive to me. But you know what, next time, I know it's supposed to be freestyle. I think I'm gonna write down some lyrics and just have them on my phone on my lap, just to have.
And here we go. So let's take a few of the questions from the chat. Mario wants to know if during your winning of your bracelet, you were panicking at all or having any issues with Wi-Fi, like how you were able to do a setup in your car that's not terrifying.
No, it was terrifying. It was horrible. On the hour, every hour, I was getting booted off for like a hand. Luckily, I had the phone there to like log in quickly, but still I might have disconnected a couple hands, and I was constantly, I probably played a couple hands when I knew that time was coming poorly, like just ripping in a hand where I would just raise, you know what I mean, or something like that, because I was afraid to get disconnected. So it had horrendous effects. This is by far, it was such a bad setting to play. It was so irresponsible. And then also three-handed was, the app glitched. I haven't even talked about this really, but I got disconnected from the Wi-Fi. I had to start the computer. The computer was slowing. I don't know what was going on, but I had to play on the phone, and pre-flop, it thought it was limit poker. I've never seen this happen before. I could only call or min raise, and I'm not joking. It was so I was gonna have a mental breakdown. Three-handed, and I was so afraid to go heads up like that. I was like, and then I didn't know how to do the time bank pre-flop on there or anything, and the computer wasn't restarting. I played 10 hands where pre-flop, all I could do was call or min raise, or fold. I'm sorry, I could fold, but I couldn't jam. I couldn't do anything more than min raise, call or fold.
So people are gonna watch back if it stayed like that. They would just be like, and Ryan DePaulo, the worst poker player maybe in history ever, who only min raises.
Yo, it was imagine getting heads up and the dude has 13 bigs and I can't just rip on him pre-flop ever. It was so terrifying. It was probably 10 hands, and you see me disconnect in the Twitch final table stream, and people are in the chat sitting out, oh my God. I can't believe so many things working against me, almost all self-caused, but that's their app's fault. Dude. They thought it was limit poker. When somebody would open, half of the time I could jam, but then other times it was, I should have screen recorded it because it was like the would have been the biggest disconnect horror in history. I mean, it still almost is in EV, but we don't think in terms of that. We're results oriented here in the degenerate brain.
Yeah, I'm with you. Always be results oriented. That's definitely the plus EV way to play. Well, I think then maybe Jordan has a question, and I'm pretty sure that you might then have the answer to it, which is, hey, I'm planning on playing a few events next week. I live in Minnesota. Should I go to Vegas and rent a hotel room, or should I go to New Jersey and rent a car?
Definitely go to New Jersey and rent a car because I want less good players in the field. I'm still trying to win another bracelet. I hope to be in the final 3 where somebody disconnects. So my angle answer is definitely go to New Jersey. And I don't know. I don't know. And if people in all seriousness are being allowed on, and if they're all in one hotel on the same Wi-Fi, if they're allowed to play the same event, do you know if that's going on or not at all?
Yeah, so if you're at a Caesars property, you are allowed to share an IP address. But if you're at other ones, I don't think you are. But yeah, I also had some question marks about this particular possible collusion or issues maybe that could happen.
Or that people just show up innocently in their own room and can't play because they don't know,
Yes.
But tell them to do the worst thing: to play and get a jersey, rent a car, go to a parking lot,
and definitely use the Whole Foods Wi-Fi. Restart your computer as many times as you can.
So bad.
Although you might want to actually, I feel like we need to get you like a publicist or something who can get a hold of Whole Foods and see if they want to maybe like get on board with this, because I feel like this is really good promotion Whole Foods is getting for free.
If I had any clue that this would become a thing or a meme, as it obviously appropriately is, it was a little mall. I would have pulled over. There was like a massage envy next door or something. I would have gone somewhere a little bit funnier, maybe, or maybe more likely to work with me.
Yeah.
I would have thought it through. I could have drove over to like an Applebee's.
Yes.
Maybe they're more open to degeneracy.
Definitely.
But it just was a Whole
You
Foods.
could be the happy
you can't
hour.
control magic.
Happy hour sponsor. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I absolutely am just dying inside imagining us approaching these places, but so let's just think a little more cautiously before your next event. But in terms of the events that followed or maybe preceded, I'm trying to remember. I do know that you were at the same table with one of the heroes of poker, Chris Ferguson, facing the bubble together. And so we have like the hero obviously and the anti-hero together in this situation. Can you kind of give us, for those who missed it, what went down?
Yeah, it was very exciting. So that was last night. So it was 2 nights ago, Sunday night or whatever, that I won the bracelet. Then I played I upgraded from a parking lot to my friend's bootleg Airbnb, like somewhere right over the water in Jersey.
Yep.
Like max late reg in the car. Like I just made it to his house. Because anyway, so and then I made a deep run in that, finished 20 something in the 1500 freeze out. Then last night upgraded again to a hotel, which I wasn't sure if it was the gods would say to me, you need to go back to a lot with the outcome of cards.
Yeah.
But then we're nearing the bubble. Jeff Platt is streaming. People are like saying like the short stack is Chris Ferguson. He'd be like, oh, everyone's gonna go nuts if Ryan busts him for the bubble. It's like hero villain. And then I was like, oh my god, that's Chris Ferguson. And then yeah, I had pocket tens open and he jammed with ace king off. And then I was like, yo, this in the 3200, which I didn't have. I sold a lot of action because I'm not that degenerate. But it was amazing. I was like, what is life? This is so cool. And so 3 cashes in a row. But bubbling him was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'd say you're on fire. I'd say this 2020 online WSOP is your summer. This is it.
All my WSOP, even like the one ring event I played when I was in Vegas in March, I finished 3rd for 33K and a 525, like their main event of that. And then last WSOP, I only played 2 events and cashed both. Like WSOP is my jam, I guess. I say that now.
And by cash, you mean took 3rd in one, right?
Oh, well, yeah.
I'd say that's a solid
tag
cash.
Team, yeah. Yeah. I'd say that's a solid cash. Yeah.
Which, talk to me a little bit about that event. I feel like this happened when I was not at the Rio for a couple weeks, but the pictures.
There was a Colossus last year, yeah.
Dude, the pictures were amazing. You were really representing New York, first of all, but in this just really glorious. There's like a few pictures where you've even got some kind of a leopard jacket on with your necklace, and the fashion game was strong. But talk to me a little bit about this tournament.
Yeah, so it was the Colossus. It was like, I don't know, I like Max Late Reg. It was just insane. It was like a multi-day run. My first time at the World Series of Poker. The second event I played first was a tag team with my two friends who are both worse than me, who are in my channel, and they're buddies of mine. But one of them is the Mush, and we were so scared he was gonna blow it day one. But so anyway, I cashed out and then played the Colossus, and like it was just insane. At the end of day one, I was like, all right, whatever, I bagged chips. The end of day two. All of these are in vlogs, which people should check out because it's super cool. Like, I would love anybody, even if I didn't like them as a person, to watch what it's like experiencing a super deep run like that. Like, I love hearing main event people when they go deep, like what their arc was like over the 7 days,
For sure.
And so, like, I'm so grateful that I was like able to document it for myself or for everyone. It's just so cool. It's so crazy. But that 13,000 person field and I finished third is so bananas. And that much more than the Bracelet the other night. I had the time because of there's multiple days and then like slower pace of play to actually think about the scale of the moment, versus like the other night. It was just like, I won a Bracelet. Oh my God.
That's what I was actually wondering. I was thinking about how different the experience is. I mean, obviously actually winning a Bracelet is winning a Bracelet, which is just amazing, period. But seeing the pictures of you at the final table last year, in the sort of Thunderdome, and there are so many moments where you're like, back with your rail, and then there's moments where you can just see the sweat, like see the fear, the pressure, all the things going on. Is there even any way to compare these two experiences?
I don't think so, because it's so crazy that it's the same thing. Or the world final tables of World Series of Poker, but no, it's so funny because it's like one, like in the car, I knew tons of people were sweating me, but I had no as at the Colossus, but like tons of people were sweating me, but nobody was there. I was alone in this parking lot in New Jersey, and it was like coming up daylight. There were some other people, and I was thinking like the person across waiting to go to work has no idea like anything. Like, I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't know. I could be anywhere doing anything.
Yeah.
And then at the Colossus, it's like all these TV cameras. There's like all these people there. Not even for me. Like, half the people are like, what? There's tons of chaos. Like, my friends are there live. It's totally different, but both are pretty cool. I recommend both to everybody.
Yeah.
Win a Bracelet, online, and go make a live final table.
Yeah, and next time we'll win the Bracelet at the final table, and then we can talk more.
Then I can fully compare. Like. You know what? You're right. I think I need to do a little more research just for us.
Yeah, for this, so we can have a really esoteric conversation with real answers that people can have. Now, one of the things in this video that I watched of yours a million times that did so well is that you dropped this bombshell that your friend was going to use. He had invested a small amount, I want to say $20, in your Colossus buy-in and was getting back $20K or something like that. And he was going to buy his girlfriend an engagement ring. And then in the video, you're like, oh, crap. Like, what if he hasn't actually done it yet? Deedly-do. We have to, edit this out of the video. I need to fill in the details. Did said friend do the proposing? Are they getting married? Have they gotten married yet? Your face is like super deadpan, so I'm a little concerned that they broke up.
Yeah, no, they haven't. He recently bought the ring though, and then he keeps being like, I'm gonna propose. I literally I don't want to text him now, but we maybe sadly another year maybe need to not get into this, because I'm texting him. Sorry, this is inappropriate, but I need to know, like, yo, did you propose yet? I would assume he would. Guys, my girlfriend keeps being like, did so-and-so propose yet? And I'm like, oh yeah, we don't talk about it that much. Like, it's like so funny that
dudes don't talk about that stuff. It's the same. I ask my husband all the time, like, oh my gosh, so what's going on with her mother or whatever? And he's like, what? I don't know. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
We don't talk about that. But I will say also, my husband had my engagement ring for years, apparently, before proposing. And I don't think he ever would have given me the ring if I didn't at some point say, like, hey, if we're not getting married, like, I gotta get out of here because I'm not getting any younger, you know what I mean? And he was like, literally my husband proposed on Skype because I told him, you know, like,
The
hey,
deadline
listen.
was approaching.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he's like, look in this drawer, like look under the bed or whatever. And I looked and I was like, oh, okay, so is this like a proposal?
You're like
yeah,
blowing the dust off.
Yes. I was like, what are you waiting for? So tell your buddy, like, he needs to get it together because Poker News is about to blow this shit up.
Yo, he's had a year. It's on him if he didn't do it by this point. But
yeah,
he had 5% of me again. Like I sell sweats to a couple friends. Like he had 5% of me the other night. So now maybe vacation for them or a wedding ring if they don't work out and she keeps this wedding. No, I'm joking. I like this is a bad joke. He's gonna do it.
What about your girlfriend? What's the story on that?
Yo, she's like that. I gotta do that very soon. She's like, just so you know, she's a lot more ratchet at times, and she won't mind me saying that she can get. She's from Queens. We're both New York City, and she would be like, she's like, just so you know, I have a date in my mind that I'm not gonna tell you, and if it's past that date, we are done. I mean, she's sort of saying it tongue in cheek, but I know I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
I love it. Well, now
I should have done it before this.
Yeah, now that ring. I was just gonna say, now you know that ring is gonna look extra. We know who's paying for the wedding now.
Yeah, I know, seriously.
But I'm assuming that the nieces you referenced earlier are the ones from the music video.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally worth it. So you gotta bag this one because you definitely need those nieces.
They're so fun playing. That was like the best way. If they weren't like climbing all over me to like hang out and play while I'm trying to play an event, that would be the best setting to like hang out with this like sweet family in the day with these cute nieces and play like whatever. Like they had the entire table set with stuffed animals and stuff, and then play a bracelet at night in this like loving family would be great if it worked. But again, we're only results oriented here also, so the lot seems to be the way to go. Yeah,
I love it. All right, well, I need to make sure that I'm not missing any super important. There's been a lot of questions. This is the problem that I have. This actually, big props to you and all of the people who stream, communicate with their people, play poker, talk all at the same time. When I'm talking to you, I cannot be looking at the questions in the chat and have any semblance of a normal, like I actually have to listen to what you're saying or else I cannot like have a good conversation with you. And so I give you a lot of credit. Actually, I have a lot of respect for that job you do.
Well, a lot of respect for being willing to sacrifice so much EV while like half at, you know what I mean? I'm done playing big. I think I'm gonna stop streaming Sundays or big like events because of that. I definitely want to stream one of these World Series events, but it's so costly and like you don't think it is, but anyway, I'll take the props. Props accepted.
Yeah. And I know you probably have to get on with your life. I probably have to get on with my life too. But I actually did want to ask you, just sidebar, because I've talked to, quite a few like East Coast grinders, a lot of peeps who are living in this world now in the United States who are trying to make money playing poker, and it's difficult. You've got the ACR, hat
pro.
I'm
a team pro now or whatever.
Yeah, team pro.
It's more than the sticker.
It's more than a sticker. You're a team pro. No, I know what you're saying. But so I guess I just want to know a little bit more about sort of the struggle, if there is any, or the like risks if there aren't, or whatever. Like how is it to be a professional poker player in this climate, I guess, where it's just a lot harder to live in the United States and play poker for the last decade?
I don't know, because I haven't really ever thought about, and even now, I don't really think about how much money I make in terms of, like, I don't expect, like, I don't account for poker almost still, even though, like, I track and I'm, like, not that bad, but I'm more worried about, like, sponsorships and YouTube revenue and Twitch, because that's, like, where my passion more is. So I do, though, I'm for sure moving to New Jersey, as soon as this lease is up, and for other reasons too, though, because rent. But yeah, I don't know. For live poker, I don't know, like, how, I mean, my girlfriend and I talked about, like, structuring our life, that I spend summers in Las Vegas, and we both live there together, obviously. I don't think there's any other way. Who knows what it will turn into, as Corona ends. But I don't know if this answers your question, but I think the challenges are, like, undeniable, unless, like, laws change, like for bracelet events or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I also think that makes a lot of sense then, or it's fortunate that your heart is sort of more in the content creating anyways, because I do think that seems to be a not only more lucrative, probably in some ways, but at least slightly easier route at this point until we know what's going to happen with the we know how the federal government works at a snail's pace, if at all. So I would say, yeah, I think that's smart and makes a lot of sense. And then
can I show real quick though? Just let me just say that America's Card Room I do play on a lot. That I kind of suck on there a lot of the time, even though I'm a team pro. You would think you get team pro, they'd rig it for you, like people say Illuminati.
Yeah.
But you know, there are ways to play online, but yeah, it's not the easiest given all the other ways. But sign up America's Card Room, use promo code Gambler. Sorry to insert this like such a horrible shill, but go on.
That's what we got to do, dude. We're all trying to make a living out here. Come on.
Also, you could just Venmo me money, you guys. There's many ways to just send me money.
Yeah, or me. It's up to you.
Yeah. Like, please. You know what? Actually, matter of fact, yeah. Sorry, I interrupted your next question. I can't believe I interrupted you for that. That's so pathetic.
It's not. And I think I don't know. Who was I just talking to? Oh, I was talking to Berkey and Christian Soto a couple weeks ago about, it's interesting because I think that the idea of sort of sponsorship and money is so intimately linked with content creation and also with like sponsoring poker players that it's kind of unfortunate as the like sponsorships have dwindled. I also think the content has like changed a lot, and access to like interesting great players has changed a lot because most players are just less interested in creating content or being involved in creating good content, because if you don't have some sort of like financial stream that encourages it, then they don't want to. So you have all of these people and fans out there who love poker, who want to hear what their favorite poker players think and what's going on with them. But if the poker players aren't incentivized in some financial way to talk or to be out there, then we don't get that. And so I actually do think it's really important to like give props when you're sponsored and to like encourage the idea of sponsorships actually.
That's super. Yeah, it's super interesting, and they've been great to me. America's Card Room. They gambled correctly with like who I would become like the GOAT, the greatest of all time. They started to get with me early, but that's a really interesting point that you're talking about. I haven't really thought about that, but you're right. I think you're right.
I like their style too because I actually am a big fan of the Boski. Also, I like people's content who just like give 0 Fs, like people who just do things and are funny and don't really care about what everybody thinks about them. And so I like the direction ACR is going.
I want to have an argument though with somebody. I was on the Cracking Aces podcast and they were like started to be like, yo, we hate ACR here. I was like, yo, let's discuss this stuff. Like I'm totally, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like trying to go. I'm somewhere between the Boski route and the I don't know what the other route would be, like fighting the hand that feeds me route. But like I really was like interested in the morality when people are like whining about all the problems with it when I was first working with them. I was like, yo, tell me what's the issues, like what's good. And all they could say was, well, not all, like whatever. I'm sorry, like we don't need to get into this, but the things they said were not it was more that all their contentions were like arguments of them being incompetent versus immoral, as in my opinion, which some people would say are one and the same because they feel like they have us by the balls. But I think that it's we're not entitled to it. Like I even see this in me complaining about WSOP.com, that it's like even though we feel like we're all like these free agents, it's like sadly we're not. You know what I mean? Like as poker players, we really feel like we're our own bosses, but we're sort of like reliant on these companies. And we're like, I'm not entitled to not have my stuff be like turn into a limit app on my phone and then when I'm three-handed. It's like, it sucks and it's like the worst thing of all time. But like I don't know, like if it's so bad I shouldn't play there. It's sort of like, if anything, poker players I would think would be a little more free markety, but there's less choices, so I get it. But none of the issues were like, dude, they don't have the money, they're running with the money, like or what. big enough that, or even in the field of morality, it was just more like, oh, they're more worried about avatars than fixing their software, which is just silliness to me versus like being evil, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And you said it right. I think in the first thing, it's like, okay, incompetence versus immorality. And I don't think that they're the same thing. I think you're right. I definitely think those are different things. And it's interesting because actually I was thinking about this same idea in the content space with, YouTube has like gone through, and actually I was really concerned about just the gambling channels in general because they were like coming after a lot of our content.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was terrifying, right? And also just lots of people I follow and like, I'm kind of like a weirdo, and so lots of people that I like, they've like taken their channels down. And I actually was thinking even in terms of content creation, where I was like, it should be that we should be able to be like, well, fine, you don't want my content, like I'll go put it 60 million other places, because there are 60 million other places. But really, YouTube has such a stranglehold at this point that there really isn't so many. It really is sort of more like,
that's such a good analogy. I never thought about it. It's the same thing that I had that moment too, and I was at risk of my YouTube. But what I thought when I had 2 strikes is like, I could lose all of this tomorrow. And then it's like I really realized, like, oh, I don't actually control. Like one day this could go away, right? Even though I feel like I'm fully free, I'm using these vehicles that obviously we're much more free than like a direct boss. But it's like, we're still, like, YouTube could just pull the plug, and they like it's very good point. That was terrifying. I'm glad they straightened that crap out. All of us vloggers, I was like, let's make a group chat. And Brad Owen was super helpful and nice in that, like as the one with the most subscribers and most reach, he was like relaying to us little guys, even though I'm a huge deal now, you know, I don't want to, get mistaken, but like he was super cool, man, and helpful, and we figured it out. And you guys got it sorted out, I assume.
Yeah.
The entire channels will just be deleted, like all the stuff we all worked for.
That's
it's
the craziest thing. You can spend
and no one to reach.
Yes. Thousands and thousands of videos and hours and all this, and I thought the same thing, and it's all, I was like, just because they don't understand like some really basic simple things, and nobody's in charge, nobody can help you with anything, like I don't know, honestly it was terrifying. And especially when it's like your life's work at a certain point, I'm like, geez Louise, I've spent a decade of my life creating this ridiculous stuff. You're a baby, so you'll get there soon, like when you can say you've spent
having worked on anything for a decade.
Yeah. Get out of here. It's ridiculous. But it was so awesome, Ryan. I'm like super excited to have met you, and I am definitely going to be checking out a lot more of your content. I had a lot of fun today watching a lot of it, and let's one more time tell the audience where they can find you, where to get a hold of you. Oh, and Michael Burke is interested in sending you money on your Venmo, so just let him know where he can send it.
Can they scam me if I say it out loud? I don't know.
I don't think so.
What's the risk? It's at Ryan-DePaulo, and it's a picture of Chad Pennington.
Perfect.
I think, or maybe my face. Yes, it's Venmo me your money, guys. Please send your donations. But I'm gonna set up a State Kings account to to sell action for maybe later events. But people can read YouTube Ryan DePaulo Degenerate Gambler. If you can't remember all that, type in Degenerate Gambler in YouTube, and you will find my channel. And from there, we can go on a journey together where you follow me on other things.
I love that. Let's go on a
self-serving journey. What the hell? That's so self-centered.
Let's go on a journey together to the Whole Foods parking lot and ship a bracelet. If you guys haven't seen the reaction, I can tell that it meant something to you, and it was very fun and exciting to watch. I also could tell no one else in the Whole Foods parking lot was even scared of you, which is like, it must be New Jersey, whatever it is. Like at 6:30 in the morning when someone is screaming like that, I'm normally like, I think I better get away from that guy. He's been
for sure.
He's not the heroin channel guy. He's definitely a different channel guy.
No, it's 98%. They're blasting off crack rocks.
Yes. All day long.
Maybe 95. Then throw in some.
Actually just crazy people. That's that 5%.
Yeah. And then like 0.0001% now they have to add in that pie chart that I know the police have database on. You're screaming I'm a legend in parking lots at 6 a.m. is winning a bracelet. So now I've made the graph.
Insert here. All right, thank you so much, Ryan. I hope you just ship tons more bracelets so you can take a lot more people to Jets games. And it goes to show that I don't even know anything about professional sports. That I was like, oh, you have to go to a baseball game. It's so funny. Deuces.
Bye. Thank you.
What a character. I am so glad to have got Ryan on the show. And just so you guys know, he is not our only guest. There's been some other viral wins going around, one specifically that I think Chad may or may not have even started sort of this like buzz about Ron Mcmillen, who I'm really excited to talk to and have on the show. Also, Chad, do you want to talk to us a little bit about event number 9 that he won and sort of how you found this super heartwarming video?
Yeah, so event number 9 was a $1,000 buy-in, no limit hold'em 6-max. And any 6-max event is always going to be tough, right? We knew this one was going to be the case. It got 1,026 entries for almost a $975,000 prize pool. It was full of a lot of 6-max crushers, but one guy in the field was 70-year-old Ron Mcmillen, playing under the screen name MACDADDY 15. He's based out of Iowa. I know him from my days on the MSPT. He played a lot of those events, made some final tables, is quite the character. He's 70 years old. He's never played online poker before. He came out to Vegas. There's a group of young, Iowa players like Dustin Dirksen and Jeff Fielder who are friends with Ron. They set him up with an account. They said, here's how it works. You might not want to play this one. You might want to wait for a different event that's not 1,000K 6-max. But not Ron. Ron's like, he wants to get in on the action. He wants to give it a go. And then 13 hours later or whatever it might be, he ends up winning this thing. Not only that, he beats, a tough final table that includes Ian Steinman, beats Ryan Torgerson out of New Jersey in heads-up play, ends up winning it for $188,000, a World Series of Poker gold bracelet, and just one of the most special moments to come out of not just this WSOP, I think any WSOP, because after he won it, Jeff Fielder, who I'm good friends with, ended up texting me. We actually didn't know it was Ron Mcmillen when he won it. We just knew it was a screen name because this was a brand new account. Like I said, they had just recreated it. He'd never cashed in an event before, so we didn't know who it was until Jeff Fielder reached out to me. I was about to go to bed. I had written the recap, and he said, Ron just won this thing. And he sent me this video that shows it's actually the penultimate hand, really the defining hand of the tournament, where it was a race. I think it was 10s versus ace-queen, if I'm not mistaken. Ron Mcmillen had the 10s, flopped a set, ended up doubling up for almost all the chips. And in this video, he's surrounded by some friends who are celebrating. And then at the very tail end of the video, Ron Mcmillen takes off his glasses, kind of shakes his fists. He's excited and looks right at the camera and gives out, a yeah. And it was a very special moment. And I didn't think it would go as poker viral as it did, if you will. It's got almost 137,000 views, this short little video. The tweet that I sent out, has a couple thousand, a few thousand likes. It's just by far the best performing tweet I've ever had. So I know when that moment hit, and Jeff, you can speak to it too, because you've been covering this just as much as I have. I mean, I figured we gotta talk to Ron. We got to get him on the show.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, you mentioned 137,000 views. I feel like I've watched it 50 to 100 times by now. It's just the way that it's expressed in the video, that he's just overcome with emotion. It's so compelling to me, because here's a guy who I've read a little bit about him. Chad, you know him a little bit. I think he's doing fine financially, but just wants to compete with the best of the best. They're like, yeah, it's a 1K 6-max, going to be a lot of wizards in that one. He says, I don't care, let's go. I can take those guys on. And to see the sheer elation that comes with winning a World Series of Poker bracelet, and to see how much it means to him, it means to his friends, it means to his family. I mean, that's up there on my list as well, Chad, for World Series of Poker memorable moments.
Well, fortunately, he was kind enough to take some time. He's back in Iowa now, doing real life. I think he's going to come back out later in the series to try to win a second bracelet. He came close. I think he finished 65th place the very next day. He made another deep run, and so that was pretty exciting. For him to go deep in the monster stack of a field of over 2,000 players. But he'll be back later in the series. But in the meantime, he took some a break from his work schedule to chat with us here on the PokerNews podcast about that special win. So here's my interview with Ron McDaddy 15 Mcmillen, World Series of Poker bracelet winner. All right, I am with our guest this week, a World Series of Poker bracelet winner, Ron Mcmillen out of Iowa, a.k.a. MacDaddy 15, topped a field of 1,026 entries in event number 9 of the 2020 WSOP online series. That was the $1,000 No Limit Hold'em 6 Max. And Ron, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was your first time ever playing an online tournament.
Absolutely, very first.
And you shipped it. And this is a tough tournament. I mean, any 6 Max is tough. $1,000 buy-in is a bigger one on the schedule. The final table alone was tough. You beat Ryan Torgerson heads up. What was the whole run like for you? You know, it being your first ever tournament online.
Well, and it even started with when they mentioned that, Chad. It started that my poker buddies, all in their 20s, 30s, 40s, some 50s. They all said, "There's Mac. You probably should maybe wait and not enter this one. This one's going to be extremely tough." And of course, I'm a very impatient person. I've never waited for anything in my life, and I said, we're going to go with it. So that said, first couple hours are really tough. And, I love the gift of gab, and I love to look at people and study people. And, and just their, little things they do. And of course, that's all out the window. But at the same time, you can pick up the way people play and the way they're doing things. And, but the first couple hours were tough. I still never figured out the betting that well. I think maybe that worked to my advantage. I was doing, quarter pots or half pots or min raises and full pots, and because I didn't want to try to break it down. Right. So maybe, who knows? Maybe that made me look a lot more intimidating than I should have been, and if I would have known what I was doing on the bets better. But it obviously worked out.
Now, I know you from the time I spent with the Mid-States Poker Tour. Like I said, you're from Iowa, so you've played quite a few of the MSPTs. I remember you making a final table at Meskwaki Casino, and you were having a good time. You had some whiskey. You were having fun. We really enjoyed having you at the final table. And it just seems to me like you're that kind of poker player where you're just out to, like you said, you have the gift of gab, and you're looking to have some fun. And
I'm a social guy, and I just, I want everyone to be happy in life. At the same time, I love to pick on these guys that go in there and can't crack a smile. I can mention a few names, even the MSPTs. You know who they are. In fact, I think I won one here last year, and I just love to have fun. And that of course, that's all out the window when it comes to online. But until the very end.
Right. Well, it did look like you were having fun with some of your Iowa buddies. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys all got a hotel room so that you could play the WSOP online bracelet events. And then there was a great video out there and some photos, in fact, after you won, where you took your friends out. You guys celebrated with some Dom Perignon champagne.
Well, they know my wife and I both are Dom Perignon freaks, and they've had a lot of fun with that over the years. And so, and I bought my friends some over the years, and all of a sudden they went out and treated me, and and I was very flattered with that. But yeah, it was 3 a.m, and I forgot that I was 70 years old. Here I am drinking Dom, and I think I made it to sleep by 6 and up at 7 if I slept at all. But yeah, there was we had a great time in the room. They had a suite at Caesars. I was staying at the Waldorf. But, there'd be one in one bedroom, one in another bedroom, a couple of us in the mid-suite, and the middle room there setting apart. And, of course, by the time I'm there, I busted. A couple of those guys are playing this live action, which I've never done either.
And then, I was going to say real quick to harp on, you go out to celebrate. You stay up till the early morning hours, and then you're up early, little sleep. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did you not then make another deep run the following day and finish like 65th in a big event?
Yes, I was chip leader after with 200 to go, and all of a sudden everyone starts to get and to be honest with you, I'm not an excuse guy. I don't believe in them, but without any sleep the night before, I think maybe it caught up with me by that time. I didn't even realize, Chad, the difference between the 6 Max and then how much longer this one would take.
Right.
And so I did kind of hit a wall, I must say, but I tried to fight through it. But I think I made some bad decisions. But yeah, I took 65th in that event, which I made a nice cash in it, so it was still fun.
Right. What did winning this event number 9, winning a World Series of Poker bracelet, mean to you?
I don't know if any poker player can explain it when it happens. It virtually changes your life. I play every year, and of course, until this year, at the Arizona State Poker Championship, and I watch Tom Snyder walk around. He introduces people on table 15. He has a ring, and table 42, he's won an MSPT, and table 18, he's got $1,700,000 in cashes. Look over here, stand up, such and such. Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at a bracelet. I mean, it's just like, so I've watched all this. Last year, I know Matt Savage real well, and I saw the questionnaire on him last year, list the top players that have never won a bracelet. It's kind of like listing the best players in the world never to win a major. Well, so Matt Savage lists all these guys. I said, yeah, these guys are. Then I started thinking my own list, but they were all great, amazing, poker players. So it's pretty humbling when all of a sudden you have a bracelet. So, I mean, how good a run did I have and how good did I play? All I know is, there's an amazing amount of players out there that are far superior to me that don't have a bracelet. So it just meant, especially at my age, it's just, I can't explain it. It's just so wonderful. And I think I've inspired a lot of people. A lot of older people reached out to me, even younger people. And people are saying now they're going to go to New Jersey or Nevada to try to play. And, I went by the story that I've always said, don't let the old man in. And a lot of people like that, and they like to hear that. And so.
Well, I know your victory was a big fan favorite. Jeff Fielder, another Iowa guy who was with you when you won, sent me a video right after you won. It was when you won really what was the defining hand of the tournament. It was a big flip. You had pocket tens. It was a race, and you ended up hitting a 10 on the flop, winning that to get most of the chips. And there's a great video of your friends going wild. You were clearly, a little excited and emotional, and you look at the camera and you give out a shout. And I tweeted that. And Ron, I'm telling you, I've been on Twitter now for a decade, and this is by far and away the best performing tweet I've ever had. The video itself has the video itself has almost 140,000 views. So it's kind of like poker viral, and I think everybody just really loves the whole story. And I mean, I'm assuming you've seen the video that they took of you. Oh yeah, and of course Jeff said he sent it to you. Of course, I've known you through the MSPT and have great relationships with you, you and the other guys there, and so. He said he sent it to you, and then next thing I'm hearing all this, I'm getting texts and emails from big time pros that I've never met or have played with, but they didn't know I played with them. I knocked Dan on the ground off a tournament last year, but didn't have a clue. And all of a sudden, I guess he puts it up on his site on that deal. So if I can make people happy with that, that's pretty special. That's pretty special. So. Well, I know you are back home in Iowa right now. Do you have plans to come back to Vegas to try to win number 2 at all this month? Not immediate plans, but I'm going to be looking at air flights here in the morning, and I'm going to get out there as fast as I can and keep trying it, yes. Well, yeah. Awesome. Well, we're hoping you can capture a second one. The first one was certainly, a very special moment in the WSOP, the 2020 WSOP thus far, and Ron, I was very happy for you. Like I said, we go back a little ways, and to see you win it, to see you on that video, it clearly meant a lot. And I'm very excited that the world is going to know you as Ron Mcmillen, World Series of Poker bracelet winner. Well, Chad, I appreciate that so much, especially coming from somebody with your history. That really means a lot to me, and it's just another notch in my belt when you say that. So thank you very much.
Those are just the stories. I mean, it doesn't matter how long I'm in poker, those moments that really you can see the emotion that someone's experiencing as they win a tournament that's what it's all about, folks. That's what we're here for. Yeah. That's what keeps us coming back. So I really appreciated you sharing that video and getting that interview for us. Chad, well, you mentioned Torgerson, in fact, in the event that Ron Mcmillen won, finishing second, but no big deal because he went ahead and came back in event number 10. Do you want to cover this one for us, Jeff?
Yeah, there's an article that is on PokerNews right now. If you go there, it's Performance of the Week. We're doing one every week. And Torgerson took it down easy. It was hands down to go from second place to Ron Mcmillen, and then the very next day come back in a field of 2,074 entries and win it. We're talking about the $600 monster stack. Win it for $172,000. Just incredible. I mean, for me, as somebody thinking about finishing finishing runner-up for a bracelet, you're happy to win that money that he won, but obviously you're disappointed. And then 24 hours later, getting to rectify that by coming back and winning a bracelet in the very next event for $172,000. It to me is just an incredible story. Obviously, the performance of the week could end up being the performance of the entire series. And we're not even halfway done at this point. And Ryan Torgerson is not a name that we were super familiar with before this, but we certainly are now. And I am in the process of trying to get in touch with him. He doesn't have much of a social media presence, but I do have some leads through some New Jersey players that I've gotten to know over the years who happen to know him. So fingers crossed that maybe next week we'll have a little chat with him here on the PokerNews podcast. But we'll have to wait and see. He might be busy grinding, trying to get number 3.
Chad's always good at tracking these guys down who we aren't too familiar with and kind of bringing them out into a bit more of the mainstream. And how about in event number 10, third place, Texas Molly, who is one Sam Grizzle. That is
Grizzle.
Just to picture Sam Grizzle sitting at a laptop or his desktop at home and firing away and absolutely cursing up a storm, yelling at everybody, probably berating everybody. I think it was either this event or one of the prior events. He was still trying to chat, where WSOP.com is disabled chat, so everything that you type in just shows up as an ellipses, just ... And I know that Texas Molly was definitely trying to chat at some point in the World Series of Poker. Yeah, I'm sure just absolutely furious with his opponents. And he finishes in third for more than $77,000. Heck of a run for Mr. Sam Grizzle.
I love this, that, even in talking to MACDADDY, and just talking, to you guys about some of the players who are emerging sort of at the top. It's a lot of people that we just don't normally consider, online players. Like, okay, sure, Joe McKeehen is shipping high roller bracelets, but it's so interesting to see all the players coming out of the woodworks because, dude, we're all looking for things to do and ways to make money. And it's really interesting. This whole event has just, I think, really surprised me in how many and varied the players have ended up being. Well, let's talk a little bit though about, we were talking about Torgerson and having, a fantastic performance. Chance Kornuth in event number 11. Yeah. Jeff, you want to talk a little bit about his incredible comeback?
Yeah, this was quite the spin. Now, Sarah, you said it's a turbo. Obviously, it's going to go quick. The average stack is not going to be too deep with 8-minute levels. But at one point in this tournament, I think it was with around 60 players left or so when we were watching Chance on the Twitch stream, he was down to 9,500 in chips when the blinds were 40K, 80K. So I think the ante at that point is 10K. So he had less than one ante, and he was able to spin it all the way up to a second place finish for $79,291. I would love to see what the odds are of that, considering he had less than an ante at one point in the tournament. The spin up that dreams are made of almost got there. He ended up losing heads up to Roman Afanasenka, who goes by Acro Gum. It was kind of a crazy run out on the final hand. Chance got it in with King 6 against 3s, Ace King 6 on the flop, Ace on the turn, 3-ball on the river for the title for Acro Gum. And Chance said something like, yeah, sure, the 3 came on the river, ... But did y'all see the previous 28 all in? So he was good-natured about it. I think he realized the luck that it took to spin up that stack. I mean, he's an incredible player, but he also did get very lucky. It was so much fun to watch. I like Chance. I think he's one of the good guys for sure. So that was cool. That was a cool comeback to see.
And always one of my favorite smiles in poker.
Yeah.
He has a fantastic smile. Well, Chad, we talked about event number 14, which Joe McKeehen won, but you mentioned event number 14 was not a freeze out. However, event number 13, the high roller just before, was a freeze out. What went down in event 13?
Yeah, speaking of good guys, a good guy in my book won this event. 649 players, uniques. This is a freeze out, so no rebuys. And coming out on top was Michael Lech, who plays under the screen name Miguel Fiesta. This was pretty interesting. So it was event number 13, and it was his 7th cash of the series. So this guy's cashing for 50% of the tournaments he's playing in, which is just incredible in itself. But he ends up winning this thing for $164,000. What was really special about this to me was Michael Lech might not be a name everybody's familiar with, but you should be. Since 2016, he's won 8 World Series of Poker circuit rings. What is special about that is 5 of them have come in different countries. So he kind of holds that record, if you will, or that's an interesting stat that applies to him. He's won rings in St. Martin, Italy, France, Mexico, and of course the United States. But to win 8 rings in such a short period of time, and then to top it off with an online bracelet here is just pretty incredible. He's definitely a player everybody should be taking notice of. Like Ryan DePaulo, he was kind of documenting it on social media alongside Vanessa Cade, a good friend of his, and they had some great videos showing him dancing, and he is quite the character. He has a love of life. He likes to travel, and obviously is a hell of a poker player because, like I said, 8 rings and now a bracelet all within the last 4 years. That's really impressive in my book.
And let's kick it all the way back. We're just going all over town here to event number 8, which was a $500 no limit hold'em freeze out tournament. Jeff, you want to give us the lowdown on this one?
Yeah, I mean, we were mentioning, kind of blasts from the past and how these old school pros are popping up and they're still managing to crush in the online ranks. How about this? Alan Gehring goes by Gladius 3. Now, Sarah, this was before your time in poker, I believe. I mean, this was 2003, the very first World Poker Tour Championship. Gehring won that one for more than $1 million. In 2006, he won the LAPC main for almost $2.4 million. I mean, the guy used to be a stone cold killer. We see him pop up here and there. He was able to beat my guy Ross Gottlieb heads up to win more than $119,000 in event number 8 in that $500 freeze out. 1,479 players in that freeze out. Just another impressive turnout. And again, another old school legend coming through and getting the job done.
It's interesting. Ryan Torgerson had to wait 24 hours from finishing runner-up in the WSOP bracelet event to winning one, right? He only had to live with that for one day. Alan Gehring finished runner-up in the 1999, I think it was,
yeah.
World Series of Poker main event. So he finishes runner-up to Noel Furlong, Irishman who won that year. And now here he is 21 years later, not just a day, waited 21 years later to finally get that bracelet. So yeah, it was pretty special. Like you said, Alan Gehring is just an old school legend. You guys know I'm a big fan of those. And so, to see him win that was certainly a special moment for me. I remember him from those WPT days. Mm-hmm. He was actually one of my early favorites, when I first got into the poker world. So to see him take this down, for me, as an old school fan, I thought was pretty cool.
We've got just a couple more stories, including one I'm just going to throw in there about Dan Bilzerian, because everyone loves to either hate or love on him. Mostly, I think, hate on him, but he's still got some interesting news bits. But before we do, we want to at least shout out, you guys, the second portion of this series is about to kick off. The GGpoker portion. I made a video yesterday about sort of what you need to know if you're looking to head somewhere to play that, or if you're already there, what you need to know to download the client and how to set up your account, etc., what kind of promotions they're running. But we are, of course, really excited to see the GGpoker portion of this. I want to say 54 bracelets. Am I right? 54 bracelets are going down in that section, which is just insane. And if it's going to be, if this WSOP portion of the online bracelets has been any indication of what we can expect from the GGpoker version, I am super excited, and we just, want to give them a shout out as well as another sponsor of the podcast. We highly recommend, if you are somewhere and you can play GGpoker, to give it a shot. It is actually, yesterday, I have to be honest, that's when I first downloaded the software, but it is awesome. It does look good. I get why everybody be talking about this software. It's fantastic. So kicking off this weekend, you guys, if you got to get somewhere, get there. I think it'll be interesting. What do you guys think in terms of, so many players, I think, have gone to Vegas or Jersey to play this WSOP version, and then there's going to be this crossover. Do you think a lot of the players who are currently, in Vegas at Airbnbs or whatever are going to deuces to Mexico or Canada or Europe or whatever to start playing the GG one now?
I think a decent amount of them will. It's going to be difficult to travel, it looks like, over these next couple weeks or in August 1st. If you're in the US and you want to go to Mexico or to Canada, you're probably going to run into some issues. I don't see those border issues being resolved anytime soon, but you could get out of the country. And so I think a decent amount are. I don't think it will have a huge impact on these GG fields because they're just going to be absolutely insanely massive. So sure, maybe we add 100-ish players who normally play in the US and they go play on GG. But the GG fields, I mean, there will be thousands of entries for each event. I mean, their 5K main has a $25 million guarantee, and I'm kind of thinking that they're just going to get there no problem.
Yeah, I think Jeff hit the nail on the head. With all the travel restrictions, it's going to be harder for U.S. players to leave. I've seen a map, like a infograph, if you will, of countries that U.S. citizens can currently travel to, and I was shocked at how small it was, if you will. It does sound like Mexico would be, any U.S. players' online bet. And I do know a handful of U.S. players that are going to be traveling down there. But they're the more hardcore, poker pros. They're not the recreational ones, if you will. Like Jeff said, we'll still see a good handful, maybe 100 or plus. But 100 plus in the field sizes that GGpoker is going to get is certainly going to be small potatoes, if you will. I'd be surprised if any U.S. pros ship a bracelet during the GG portion of it, just because the fields are going to be so massive with international players. But we'll have to wait and see. We've certainly got some great stories, through the first half of July, and this thing's going to run through the first week in September. So there's still plenty of time, and who knows what can happen between now and then.
Well, Chad, you're our resident U.S. Network Online Series reporter in the field, really holding down all the facts. So can you let us know what's been going down in that event?
Yeah, there's, obviously the WSOP Online is what's capturing everybody's attention right now. Players in New Jersey and Nevada are competing. It wasn't the only game in town, though, last week. In New Jersey, the PartyPoker US Network, which is comprised of Borgata Poker, Party Poker US, and BetMGM Poker, hosted the latest US Network online series. We cover these, for PokerNews, doing live updates. Also talk about them here on the podcast. Won't get into it too much, other than to say that My Cousin Vinny 5, I love that movie, by the way, My Cousin Vinny, back in the day, Joe Pesci. Anyways, My Cousin Vinny 5 took down the main event, 407 entrants in the $215 main event, took that down for $18,000. And then a shout out to Eric Van Nauken.
Nailed it.
There we go. Yeah. Right. I'm pretty proud of how quick they got that one. It's earlier. I know him as Always Liquid online. That's his online screen name. But he took down back-to-back events, which is a feat worth shouting out. And the next series for the Party Poker Online US Network series is going to be coming up at the end of this month, going into early August. And as always, PokerNews will be covering it. You want to learn more about that, just go to PokerNews.com. Search Party Poker US in the search bar, and all the information will pop up.
And I also think when we bring up Party Poker, it's going to become a bit more important in the U.S. landscape. Rob Young, partner at Party Poker International, tweeted out a link to an article that effectively said that Party, through their partnerships with BetMGM, plans to be in 11 states within the next year. And so, you know, you're kind of looking at the possibilities, I guess. You know, WSOP combines their Nevada and New Jersey player pools. Could Party do the same thing? Could Party do the same thing if they brought in Pennsylvania, if they brought in Michigan? Could we see the online poker landscape really shift over this next year or so? I'm interested to find out.
I think Party Poker is doing a great job of laying the foundation for future expansion. I hope to be there every step of the way with them. You know, when they are entering a new state, hopefully PokerNews is going there to cover the events that they might host. You know, between Party Poker and Poker Stars, who of course are in New Jersey and Pennsylvania as well, you know, those are definitely the two heavy hitters, if you will, that are ready for expansion. And then we'll have to see how maybe a site like a WSOP.com deals with the expansion. If they can move into certain markets is going to depend, I think, largely upon whether or not they have a casino property in that particular state. So yeah, to me, those are the big three players right now in the online landscape as far as regulated, licensed online poker goes in the United States.
Well, yesterday as I was perusing one of my favorite websites, Zero Hedge, I saw an article with Dan Bilzerian in the headline, which I thought, well, you know, things are overlapping. I might as well take a look at this. And the article had me laughing a little bit, and I just wanted to share it with our audience. I thought it was kind of funny. The self-titled king of Instagram, Dan Bilzerian, now also appears to be the king of lighting cash on fire, which I think everyone in the poker world knew a long time ago. That's because his new pot company, Ignite International, looks like it's about to go up in smoke. The company torched $50 million in cash last year after raising $20 million in convertible debt, blah, blah, blah. But I think many people have you know, speculated about, you know, does Bilzerian actually have money? If so, where does he get it? How did he make all this money? His main thing seems to be promoting this kind of, you know, wild lifestyle. Well, here might be one answer about where it all comes from. So this company Ignite is like, it sells weed products, which, by the way, if you look at the article, I swear it's Sam Abernathy in one of these like pictures of these hot models. But I'm like, does that make sense? Would she? I don't know. It looks a lot like her and she looks fantastic. I'll just say that. But of the $50 million this company burned last year, $43 million was for expenses related to marketing and promotions. So essentially, the shareholders' money was spent on throwing booze-fueled parties at various global destinations with barely dressed women. Essentially, they're basically, as the article goes on, it just says that the company was probably just footing the bill for Bilzerian's lifestyle and for paying for his parties and paying him a salary in the process, which is so interesting because basically, right, his value, a big part of his value comes from having these 31 million Instagram followers. So then you like attach your name to a company with your 31 million Instagram followers, have them pay you, but then they just basically make your Instagram, right? Like, I was like, wow, what a vicious and beautiful circle he's managed to put together. And apparently it says he also was said to have lost out on a book deal, which we talked about, I want to say maybe last year, because he was too busy partying to deliver the manuscript that was required. So
are we sure that we're talking about Dan Bilzerian from Instagram, or are we talking about Dan Bilzerian from WSOP.com and Jamie Kerstetter? Because I hear about burning through
that the whole time.
Yeah, I hear about burning through $55 million. I hear about scantily clad women, weed, and I think Jamie Kerstetter, whose screen name is Dan Bilzerian on WSOP.com. My former poker or my former LFG podcast host. Shout out to Jamie.
Shout out to Jamie, and way to go on scooping that screen name. Man, when I was making my screen name on GG yesterday, I was like, really stressed out, you guys. This is a huge commitment. We've really got to be sure what we're doing here after all the talks we've had in the last little while. And I made a terrible mistake, and I hope you guys don't make this also. I used my email, well, one of my many emails, and then I wanted to use the first part of my email as my screen name, and it said, you can't do that. You can't have your like, you know, whatever device you're using to verify your account also be your screen name. And I was like, dude, but this is like my name. I wanted it to be Auntie Chardonnay, and I messed myself up. It can't be. No.
Oh no.
I know.
So what'd you end up going with?
Auntie Chardonnay, like ANTE.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, come on, all my stuff is the same, and then I
Yeah.
do something different. I was kind of pissed about it, but so if you guys don't make that mistake, I have like 100 emails. I could have used any email, but whatever.
Also, Sarah, I don't particularly see you in the future playing GGpoker. I see you sweating a lot of GGpoker action, but we might not see Auntie Chardonnay, no matter how you spell it, at any of the actual tables.
Yeah, but what if someone takes my name and then later, you know, in my older years, I have to pay them like $100,000 to get my name back from GG?
But you'll be so rich in your later years, it won't matter.
So rich.
You're good.
So rich. All right. Well, I think that is more or less the important news from the week. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. We, of course, will have all kinds of action for you guys next week as these two humongous events overlap. I'm just super proud of and excited about the poker community because I feel like we're moving on strong. You know, this is, I may or may not be dying, but in terms of news stories and poker events happening, this community has just fully adapted and adopted this new way of life, and we're just rocking and rolling. All right.
I agree with you 100%. This has been an incredible 2 weeks. Let's keep up that momentum. Let's not hit that dreary part of the grind that we sometimes run into in the live WSOP. Let's just keep going strong, onward and upward, as you said.
Yeah, and Chad will eventually get to go home, and his energy levels will just be through the roof after he gets back home to see his puppies.
Get a week of sleep.
Yes. Hopefully he doesn't get the Rona, like his co-host over here. And if you guys are bored, or you guys are at home, or even if you're not, you just want to be a nice friend, be sure to like, rate, review, especially if you actually like us and like the show. Please let us know. And yeah, you can follow us if you guys have ideas for guests, etc., story ideas, things we've missed. I feel like we need to get Joey on the show, because after watching that hysterical fight video like 40 times this morning, which, had I seen it before? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's from last year.
Yes, it's so funny. I'm so glad he pulled this back out. But yeah, if you guys haven't, be sure to check out Joey Ingram's Twitter to watch, you know, a gem, a poker casino, whatever, like, you know, gambling gem. And you guys can follow us at Chad A. Holloway, at Jeff Platt, at Auntie Chardonnay, or of course at PokerNews. We'll catch you on the flip side. Deuces.
The key to winning big is using every little bit of knowledge to your advantage. At Oddschecker, we give you the edge. Better odds, better picks, and better offers to make you a better bettor. Why settle for less? Quickly compare the odds at every sportsbook to ensure that you're getting the best price to maximize your return. Not only that, but we have experts on every sport, from hoops and football through to soccer and boxing. Our experts analyze the form and study the stats to deliver you totally free picks and parlays. Oddschecker also highlights the most lucrative welcome offers in the industry. If you're looking to open an account, then you are eligible for hundreds of dollars in totally free bets. If you're new to legal sports betting, then we're here to help, offering simple advice to understand betting guides and updates on your state's current legislative situation. Visit us at www.oddschecker.com/US. Oddschecker, sports betting smarter.